Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a review and tutorial using the Carli Bybel palette in collaboration with BH Cosmetics. This palette came out a while ago and they are already releasing a volume 2 of the palette, but I only just got my hands on it this week because my Ulta never had it in stock and I never managed to get it when it was still in stock online. So I'm sure that the majority of you have seen what the inside looks like already, but if you haven't, this is what it looks like. You have 5 eyeshadows in the top row, 5 in the second, and then 4 highlighters down here, a gorgeous mirror, and then the packaging on this palette is just stunning as well. I love it. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm actually going to show you guys how the eyeshadows work and blend with the tutorial section of this video, and then I'm going to give you my review and thoughts at the end. If you guys are only curious and interested about the review of the palette, then I will leave a timestamp on the screen and you guys can just go ahead and skip to that part of the video. Okay, so first thing I'm doing is taking the lightest shade in the palette to set my lids and create a nice smooth base for easier blending later on. You guys can see here that the consistency of this shadow was a little bit powdery, but it did still cover my lid space pretty well. It did pack a bit of pigment, but if you guys can tell, just at my lash line, the shadow wasn't catching in that area. And then this section right here with this slightly darker transition shade, I left in regular speed so you guys can see. You saw that I took like 3 big swirls of product onto my brush, and then as soon as I started blending it into my crease, it barely put any product down and it was blending out very rough, and you guys can see it's very choppy. I took a little bit more product on the brush and it wasn't adding any pigmentation. It just wasn't looking very good, and you guys can see that for yourself, especially here on this eye also. You can see at the lash line that pale bone shade of the shadow didn't catch in that area on this eye either. Now I'm going in with a darker mauve shade, taking a ton of product on the brush, placing it down in the outer corner, and at first you guys can see that the shadow is showing up on the lid, but the more that I blend the shadow, the more that it blends itself away and leaves patches of no shadow in certain weird areas. Like the shadow just picks up very splotchily, and then you have some blank lid space throughout where you've blended the color through. You guys will be able to see for yourself, but that is what is going on with this shade as well. Another major issue I was having with this palette is that the shades were not showing up as dark as they were in the pan. Like I took the darkest plum shade in this palette to put in the outer corner of my eye, and I feel like that color that is in the pan does not show up the same on the skin. It is much lighter and way less intense. Okay, so hopefully you guys could see from those clips that the shadows in the palette are a little bit powdery, so when you dip your brush into the powders, they kind of just get everywhere, and then you really have to tap off the excess from your brush. And I was going in with a pretty decent amount of shadow, and initially when I put the color, just like the first couple swipes into the lid, the color payoff was there, but then as I started blending, it would blend away color very choppily in the lid. So if you guys can see from the close-ups, there are some little patches of just blank lid space that the shadow was just not blending into, and as I went in with a clean brush, it just kind of buffed away the colors in the shadow, and it doesn't look smooth, it doesn't look like good quality eyeshadow. Another thing that I've been noticing with it, because I've been playing with it for a couple of days, is that after I spend a whole bunch of time really trying to work with the shadows and build up the color and make sure that it's not patchy and there's no blank spaces, once I kind of step away from the eyes and I work on something else from the face, and then I look back at my eyes, right in the crease where my eyes, when I have my eyes open and I'm blinking, is moving back and forth, the shadow starts to disappear. So right in here, there's shadow missing because my eye has been blinking. Another thing that I noticed from this palette is that the shimmer shades don't really have that much shimmer to them. Like I find that it just doesn't look like a shimmer shade once I put it on the lid. So I'm going to show you guys what I mean. I am going to go ahead and just grab a mixture of these two shades right here. and I'm gonna put a ton on my brush. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to start placing this on the lid. So first of all, I'm getting a ton of fallout, and I'm pushing it. I'm not even blending. I'm pushing it onto the lid, and I'm still getting a ton of fallout. And it just doesn't look shimmery. I don't know how to explain it. It just kind of looks like a muddy shadow. So you guys can see on the palette itself all the shadow fallout from dipping my brush in there. And then here's a close-up of the fallout on my skin. Okay, so now I haven't really tested out the highlighters in the palette. I swatched them and they just look like powder. They don't look like a nice finely milled highlighter to me at all. The only one that looks like it might actually be a shimmery highlighter is this shade right here, and it's gold. I don't tend to use gold highlighters too often, but I'm just gonna go ahead and try it on the skin today and see what it looks like. So I do like that gold highlighter shade, but to me, on me right now on my skin tone, it looks a little bit muddy. But it swatches way nicer than the other shades in the palette, and it performs better than all the other shades in the palette. So for me, this palette has to be a pass. I just don't find that the quality is very good at all. It doesn't perform well from what I experienced with it. The pigmentation is just not there. The colors don't blend out nicely on the lid. They look muddy, they're choppy, there's not that much color payoff. I was not impressed by the quality of the shadows in this palette. The colors are beautiful. If they performed well and they were pigmented, I absolutely love the color selection in this palette. It's just the actual quality of the product in this palette that I was just not impressed with. I think that for a drugstore option, there are just so many more affordable and amazing quality items to choose from Makeup Geek, ColourPop, L'Oreal has some great shadows, Wet n Wild has some great shadows. I just don't think that this palette is worth it, even though the packaging is stunning and I do, again, love the shades in here, but they didn't work for me. So that's it for today's video. I hope that you guys found it helpful. If you liked it, then please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos. And also leave me future video suggestions in the comment section below and let me know what other palettes and things that I should try out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.